Liberal Viewer presents.
So when former Simpsons writer Larry Doyle published an article in the comedy section of the Huffington Post titled "The Jesus-Eating Cult of Rick Santorum," it was clearly a satire aimed at Rick Santorum because of Santorum's attack on the religious beliefs of President Obama and more liberal Christians. But when the story got told over on Fox News' supposedly straightest of straight news program Special Report, not only did the story fail to mention the article was posted in the comedy category, but Fox News' graphic of the article actually cropped off the top showing the comedy heading, as you can see in this clip.
Writer Larry Doyle triggered significant backlash after his column entitled "The Jesus-Eating Cult of Rick Santorum" was published on the Huffington Post website. In it, he mocks communion rites, implies a link between the Catholic Church and pedophiles, and closes with this sentence, quote, "Need I remind you that only once in our great history has a Roman Catholic been elected president, and how tragically it ended," an apparent reference to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy.
Now, plucking that reference to the Kennedy assassination out of the context of the full article, which was clearly satirical, was pretty biased, especially considering the Fox News story never mentioned the author was a former writer for The Simpsons, never mentioned the article was posted in the comedy section of the Huffington Post, and even cropped out the comedy heading from the top of the article. But to make Fox News' biased reporting even worse, supposedly straight news reporter Shannon Bream actually made it sound like the author only came up with the claim his article was satirical after the fact in the continuation of the story here.
Following public outcry, Doyle said the column should be viewed as satire, adding, quote, "It's traditional at this point for me to half apologize, to say that I'm sorry if anybody was offended, but I really don't mind if anybody was offended."
Now, again, plucking out just that final sentence from the full context of Larry Doyle's follow-up isn't really fair and leaves out very pertinent information, like the part where he gave the purpose of his satire, writing, quote, "The purpose was to take Santorum to task for his persistent and opportunistic attacks on the faith of others, in particular his dog whistle reference to President Obama's phony ideology and his assertion that it is impossible to be a Christian and a liberal," unquote. But of course you'd never see one of those attacks from Rick Santorum covered on Fox News without the full context and plenty of chance for Santorum supporters to tell their side, and that double standard is what makes the end of this Fox News story particularly disingenuous. After reporting on the conservatives who wrote a letter to the Huffington Post asking that the article be taken down, and of course Fox News only reported the conservatives wanted an apology, forgetting to mention the request for censorship, then ending the story like this.
The authors of the letter to Huffington say the website has a double standard, arguing that if a similar article was written concerning the Islamic faith, quote, "the public outcry would be overwhelming, and rightly so." In Washington, Shannon Bream, Fox News.
When I see Fox News' story raise the issue of double standards while so clearly exhibiting its own double standard, it kind of makes my irony meter explode, but I want to know what you think. Isn't the real double standard in the way Fox News treats actual attacks on religion from Rick Santorum compared to the way Fox News treats this satirical attack on the religion of Rick Santorum? And for those who read the Jesus-Eating Cult of Rick Santorum article, despite how Fox News presented it, wasn't that article clearly satirical?
YouTube, you decide.